For you, sitting where you sit, what are the most important things that will have to happen in order for players to be able to get back on the field as scheduled?
Well, I think it starts with safety. So that's number one for us, and it's number 2 and 3. So our medical teams are talking and obviously working with all the experts. So that will be number one for us. But, one of the things I've learned, Mike, is you got to make decisions with the facts that you have. People who project where we're going to be, 2 weeks from now, much less 3 months from now, it's speculative still. We don't know. And I think, I don't like to engage in the speculation business. I like to deal with facts. So what, we're focused on right now is making sure we proceed, make sure we look at our facilities. As you know, all of our facilities are closed, team facilities. That's one of the reasons we're doing this from home. Next focus will be within, obviously, the state regulations as we reopen the economy. We're working with the governments to try to make sure we reopen those facilities in the safe and the appropriate way, and we will continue to do that. So that's really our next level of focus once we get through the draft.
I totally get it. The one thing I would ask, though, is if it does move forward, and I understand all of us, you can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow in this climate, but if it does get to a point where you have to start bringing other things into consideration, the possibility of a delay, the possibility of shortening the season, any of those things, I'm just curious as to how those decisions get made.
Well, a lot of those decisions, first off, it's our job to be prepared for, the different alternatives. As I like to say, and I think we demonstrated that here with the draft and our off-season programs, that you have to be willing to adapt. You have to be prepared to adapt. You can't expect or anticipate every move, but your job is to try to be as prepared as possible. And so we do that. We'll continue to do that, but we will make sure that we're putting our players in a safe position, our coaches, our team personnel, everybody, our partners, and we'll make sure that those are the issues that we'll put first. And ultimately, it'll probably come down to a league and an owner decision.
One of the things I've been watching closely, and I think everyone has been the way that this has been handled in other countries. And you've probably seen in South Korea, they're back playing baseball now. They're playing exhibition games, and their season is going to begin in just a couple of weeks. And one of the things is they're doing it without fans in the seats. And I'm just interested in your thoughts on the possibility of playing NFL games in empty stadiums.
Well, again, I'm not going to speculate, Mike, but, we're going to do the things we need to do to make sure we're operating safely, and that includes our fans. So if we can't obviously bring fans into a stadium environment without being safe, then we'll look at those alternatives. But, I think at this stage, everything's on the table. We've got to be smart, and we want to try to do what we can to continue playing football, but do it incredibly safely.
Fair. As a final thought, you and I have known each other for a really long time. You've been in this league forever. You've had to make a lot of very tough decisions as commissioner. But right now, with all that's happening and all the variables and everything that is at stake, how would you describe what it is like to be the commissioner of the National Football League during a pandemic?
Well, I guess I've never thought about it that way. But, I've said this all along, that, this is an honor to do this job. It's a privilege, and I'm fortunate to be in that role. We've obviously had a lot of challenges, some that I would have never dreamed of. This is probably one of them. But, that's what you do when you're in these roles, and that's what you do for the National Football League. I always believe that the NFL it does the right thing at the end of the day, and that's one of the reasons for our success. If people look to us, they look to us for optimism. They look to us for bringing communities together. I think the draft's a great example of that with restoring hope. It's hope for our fans. It's hope for our teams. It's hope for our players. For these young men who are about to start their careers as prospects and players in the NFL. That's what this is all about, and I think we need those diversions. I think we need that focus on the future and that way to bring communities together. And I think we'll be able to do that for the next 3 days, and then we'll focus on the future immediately after that.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.